All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. We've got Andrew Schlecht coming up very shortly. We discuss a little about his Thunder and Shea and Poku and their new shorts. We also talk about some teams that are off to surprising starts and what our confidence level is in their updated 538 wins projections. We specifically focus on those teams who are performing outside of what most people expected. After the games on Thursday night, currently the 14 lottery positions are filled by teams, or a lot of teams that people thought would make the playoffs. I mean, everyone thought the Warriors, Sixers, Timberwolves, and Heat are going to get in the playoffs. They've gotten off to pretty bad starts. Not to mention, you got the Nets in there, and then the Lakers, who are having a catastrophic season. And then the Mavs, like, they're not in the lottery standings yet, but they lost back-to-back games to the Magic and the Wizards. Meanwhile, the Trailblazers and Jazz just keep chugging along, and the Pacers are respectable. So Andrew and I get into all of those teams, plus a bunch of other stuff. If you're in the Nashville area, I hope you will come out tonight on Friday, November 11th for a Grizzlies watch party at Noble's Beer Hall. Chuck and John from Fast Break Breakfast and myself will be there. We're giving away Grizzlies prizes, and we'll be watching the Grizzlies Timberwolves / the Kyle Anderson revenge game. It's a later tip. It's at 8:30 p.m., so come on down, hang out with us. Also, stay connected and follow at MemGrizz and at Grind City Media across all social channels, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For the most up-to-date coverage of the Memphis Grizzlies, follow at MemGrizz and at Grind City Media. All right, now let's talk with Andrew. I'm joined right now by Andrew Schlecht, Thunder expert, NBA podcast extraordinaire. My good buddy, Andrew, how's it going?
It's going great. I am finishing up. This will be my third podcast today, so it's a great day.
That's a light Friday for you.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a low number.
It's not even brunch time. Brunch restaurants haven't even opened yet. That's the dream. I will do as many podcasts as you want if I'm done by lunch. That's like, if we can be done by lunch, yeah, let's record 5 of them. That sounds amazing.
I was talking to a friend. There's like, he read this book where there's like these, like the idea is that you have these certain parts of your day that are like green parts of your day where like your brain is like fully engaged. Then you have like these yellow parts where you can do like a little bit of work, but don't make it too engaging. Then you have like your red parts of the day where it's like, you probably shouldn't do anything during this part of your day where you have to actually think. Like go like push a lawnmower or something during that part of your day. Like don't like do things that require mental energy. So
I've never heard this. I'll be honest, I don't think I have green parts of my day. I think I'm just yellow and red. I think it's just back and forth between yellow and red. I mean, I'm not a morning person. I'm not saying like I'm ready to get up and go and attack the day and do my podcast. Just since becoming a parent and my awake schedule has shifted.
Yeah.
And they usually have school. This Friday, they don't have school. Thank you, veterans, for all your service. Also, by the way, in Tennessee, we didn't have school on election day, which honestly I think was a ploy to make it harder for people to vote.
It is. It's way harder for
it's
adults
way
to
harder
vote
to vote if the kids are not in school. No, legitimately, the excuse given was some of the polling places are at schools, and we can't have polling places and children in the same place. I guess for safety, which makes sense to me, because people are insane. But yeah, the whole no NBA on Tuesday, election day. All right, I guess that makes sense. Makes it easier for arena workers to go vote. Yeah. But having no school, having no built-in state daycare for our children, so we can, made it much harder to cast the ballot. But I don't have a green part of my day. I would used to say it was probably 9 p.m. I feel the most alert between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. And that's probably still the case. But now my desire to podcast early is just all about convenience. Like if the kids are covered, I can do this now. I don't want to spend my night time. I don't want to spend what could theoretically in a dream world be free time. The most desperately craved thing for parents, which is why now it's all become like, here's my 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. rate. Here's
Yep.
my after lunch.
No, that should be a thing.
And here is my
Yeah.
evening rate. Like, I understand that. I didn't used to. I used to just be like, listen, I would be happy to wake up and watch Law and Order reruns and West Wing reruns. And then if you need me to go do a piano gig, if you need me to go referee a basketball game at 3 p.m., dream. What else would I possibly be doing between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m.? I'm happy to work during those hours, but it's all shifted. It's all shifted where those are the value
Family
hours.
man now. Family man.
I am a family man. Before we get to the basketball talk and also uniform talk, this is specifically an emergency podcast.
Yeah.
Because I need to know I don't know if you even know. I need to know what the new Thunder shorts. I need to know what the brown part feels like.
I don't know yet.
There are some Thunder shorts.
I will learn tonight. I will learn tonight what it feels like.
Actually, when you go about finding out how the Thunder shorts feel, how do you go about doing that? Are you going to go ask, like, hey, can I feel your shorts?
Well, I have locker room access, so I might, if there's a jersey hanging in the locker, I'll go feel it.
Can I touch this?
Yeah, I'm gonna go do it.
I'm gonna tease the short thing. Tell me what you had for breakfast before you record all these podcasts. Have you had breakfast? You're a huge cereal man. I know you don't.
I am.
You're not infringing on fast break breakfast because you've been doing it for years.
Yeah. It's been kind of a thing. So I went on a cruise over a month ago, and I gained so much weight on the cruise that, yes.
Okay.
It was great. It was wonderful. But I stepped on the scale and I saw a lot more numbers than I was prepared for. So I have started doing intermittent fasting where I just basically just drink water and black coffee until like 1 o'clock every day. And so it's terrible.
I didn't know this is a thing that I expect from John and Chuck, my co-hosts. They've been dabbling in intermittent fasting. And now Chuck's on a thing where he eats ground beef every morning. But they're always trying some kind of fad. I didn't add you. Not that intermittent fasting is a fad. I think it's been proven.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a month.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It's terrible. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. It has helped me lose weight. But it's awful because I love breakfast. Like if I could eat, I will eat breakfast for lunch now because I love breakfast that much. Well, it's just pain now.
I don't want to get on semantics with you, Andrew, but if you are fasting and then you break that fast, you put it together. Okay.
I'm in now.
That's your breakfast.
I'm back in now.
That's your breakfast.
I'm back out of my depression now. Yeah. This is good.
Yeah, it's a fast breakfast if you eat it quickly. It's a fast break breakfast if you trademark it. I'm sorry you've had to cut out some of your
I've told myself I'll give myself until Thanksgiving. I'm like the Lakers. Like I'll give it till Thanksgiving and then I'm done. Yeah.
Or is LeBron James, is he going to give it till Thanksgiving?
Well, that's what Rob Pelinka said he would do. Was that he was going to give the roster till Thanksgiving before he did anything with it.
Before the season started, I wagered my hard-earned money on Lakers to miss the playoffs.
Wow.
It was
feeling so good.
It was like plus 250. It was plus 250 for the Lakers to miss the playoffs. And I was like, wow, I'm actually going to go in on this.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe I was just being a hater. Where I'm like, I think this team's terrible.
And terrible.
I was wrong. When they won the title, I was wrong about them that year. I'm like, they don't have any shooting. I don't see how this roster works. And then, of course, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Anthony Davis hit all their shots in the bubble. They win the title, but since then, it's rough. The Lakers, 2-9. LeBron's got a sore groin.
Yep.
But they're going to give it to Thanksgiving? I don't know. What even is the thing? I got a lot of pushback. I floated like I was required to in the podcaster bylaws of saying the Grizzlies, should probably trade for Anthony Davis. The price is cheap. And then everyone was mad. They're like, that guy stinks. I'm like, well, I understand. He seems like a weird,
be awesome with the Grizzlies, but
terrible vibe guy, but just the basketball player would be amazing on the Grizzlies.
Yeah. If he's your second or third best player,
I'm asking him to be our third best player.
Go.
I'm asking him to compliment Jaren Jackson Jr. and just allow Dez and Ja to shoot all the jumpers.
That'd be wonderful. And he would, wonderful. I'm sure he would, I think he would love to fade back into the background too.
We could lay his clothes out for him every morning. You have to make no decisions. You can wear a "That's All Folks" T-shirt to the game every.
I'm in on that. I did a podcast with Sam Vecini yesterday, and that was one of the teams that we brought up was the Grizzlies. It makes sense.
Why aren't your Thunder going to get involved? They've got all the pieces to
Long term,
trade for these
man.
guys.
We don't have to do this. Do we have to do this?
No, we don't have to. Tell me about the shorts. The shorts are brown. They look like leather chaps.
They do. They do.
It's supposed to be a map of all the Oklahoma counties or something?
Well, there's actually, so like on like the where a belt buckle would be, which you shouldn't wear a belt buckle with a basketball uniform. There is the state of Oklahoma that has all the counties on it.
Don't tell the Grizzlies that. The Grizzlies put belt buckles on their jerseys now.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. It's
a new thing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that.
It's an extra place you can add a design.
No, so it
looks like it's faux leather. It looks like leather on the shorts.
It does. So it's a symbol. And this is like where the Thunder go wrong every time when they try to make a new jersey, is that they try to have symbolism within the jersey instead of just like cool design.
Everybody does it. Every team does it. There's like a 4-paragraph press release with every jersey explaining what the jersey means.
It's so lame. It's the lamest thing ever. But anyways, it's supposed to symbolize we have red dirt here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it's symbolizing like the red dirt, the community, the people. And then it's also supposed to look like melded metal, I guess. Like the team is still forming. They're like this like metal that's like still waiting to become what it's supposed to be, and like that's what that's symbolizing.
Oh, but I love that because that applies to your roster and your organizational direction. No, that speaks to me, Andrew. It's just a lump of clay ready to be formed. They nailed it, knocked it out of the park. Good job, Thunder.
It's
team.
Just it's inexplicable. I mean, if they didn't have the weird looking leather metal portion of it, like the jerseys wouldn't be terrible. But because you have that, it's like
something
what's
that's
going
broken about my aesthetic tastes is I love the color brown. And and I don't like any of the new city jerseys. I'm just like, these are not for a dad in his 40s. I don't
not
care.
Enough brown here.
I don't like any, but I did like the Thunder have brown because I'm weird and I like the color brown in jerseys. It isn't used much because everyone thinks it looks like dirt. This is a specifically supposed to be dirt. So
let's see if I can send you an Aaron Wiggins jersey or something.
Oh man,
it's got the brown on it.
I would love that. Any brown clothing. No, the whole press release thing, and I might get electroshocked for saying this. Like it also doesn't speak to me. The Grizzlies default court, the grain goes sideways to show how the Memphis people like buck trends and go against the grain.
Wow.
And I can't roll my eyes hard enough. Or I'm just like, I'm like, I don't like how it looks.
Yeah.
And now that you explained it, I like it even less.
Like, yes.
Jerseys
that's how I feel too.
Cool.
Yes.
They shouldn't need a code to let me know why it looks cool.
I know.
I mean, honestly, the new Grizzlies jerseys are fine. And they are pretty apparent. And speaking of texture, it's possible the Memphis is a funny texture because it's supposed to be like diamonds. And it does look in the pictures like it might be somewhat weird to touch.
Yeah.
So who knows? Those will debut tonight, Friday night.
Yep. Yeah, we get to see the brown Thunder leather jerseys tonight in OKC against the Raptors. Yeah, should be something.
The best New Jersey is the Wizards with these pink jerseys. They have to do with some kind of like rose blossoms or something, I think. But they're
the cherry blossoms.
Excuse me, cherry blossoms. Yeah. The exact color, it's of the memeable Kyle Kuzma sweater, which I thought was tremendous content because in the first game in the jerseys, Kyle Kuzma erupts, destroys the Mavericks. He's absolutely unstoppable. They're playing without Porzingis and Bradley Beal, and Kuzma's like, "You turned my Magic sweater." It's almost like it's like the Tangled story, sort of. They used this magic material. These special fibers, and it made me the perfect player.
It was great. They do.
That's a comic book.
And they look great. Like on
from the waist
TV
up
too.
Yeah, they looks good from the waist up. I didn't know what the shorts were going to look like, and the shorts were a disappointment. I'm like, oh, those are weird. Hypercolor.
It's all weird.
Hypercolor?
I kind of like the weirdness though. It's one that we'll look back in 20 years and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like that's really weird. That's kind of cool.
So that is the default issue where anytime I think about how awful this jersey looks, I specifically remember 20 years ago in the prime of my youth thinking the Vancouver Grizzlies jerseys were horrible.
Yeah.
and thinking the Detroit Pistons horsehead jerseys were horrible. I'm like, how do they get rid of the classic bad boy Pistons to go to teal? And they're hideous. And now when I see these jerseys, I'm like, glorious.
Now we're having teal night.
Yeah, now
Detroit.
I love them. And they're my favorite. So I do know it's all broken. I'm gonna in 20 years we'll look back on the Warriors and these.
Oh yeah, the Warriors ones are wild as well.
The wildest. Yeah. I don't even know that. I haven't read the press release to understand why there's a big flower on Steph Curry's navel. Why is there a flower coming out of all the players' navels? It looks weird.
It's a weird.
It's like that movie, The Fountain,
placement of it feels
where Hugh Jackman's looking for the fountain of youth, and then he turns into a plant.
I think that's it. I think that's in the press release. Yeah.
I saw that movie on my honeymoon.
On your honeymoon, did you go to the theater?
Yeah, we were in a beach town in Florida. Not a lot to do.
Yeah.
And we were just relaxing, and I was like, I call my wife guys. I'm like, guys, he knew. I was like, there's a new Darren Aronofsky film. We should go see it. And she still loved me back then, so she's like, sure.
Yeah.
And well, it was like 14 people started the movie, 2 people finished the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you the two?
Yeah, we were the two. We stuck it out.
Wow, stuck it out.
The wife stopped going. The wife stopped going to movies with me about a decade ago. I think it was. I think There Will Be Blood was the last one.
Okay. That's great. That's a perfect one to end on.
No, I do want to ask about your Thunder.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk organizational direction or anything. I do want to know, is Poku real? Last 5 games on Poku. 13 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 2.3 blocks per game, 1 point steal games, 1.7 steals per game. How close are we getting to real Poku? Is it a thing?
Pretty close. He is he's day to day on being a good player, I would say.
Oh, I like that.
And he had a great game against the Bucks a couple nights ago. He's had some stinkers, there's no doubt, and he's going to have more. But he's starting to round into form. The way that Mark Daigneault explained it to me before the season started, last season in training camp, I asked him about Poku, and he told me that the screws needed to be tightened on Poku. And so it was like, yeah, it just basically means like this guy sucks. And this year he told me that the screws are tightened on Poku. Like that was the first moment where I was like, oh, okay, let's wait and see. And he's played well. They're using him as kind of a connector piece for them. They don't have a center. Their center is in a boot right now. And so they use Poku as like a faux center a lot of times just because he has the most length on the team.
By the way, they should get Chet Holmgren some like leather boot to go over the boot. Some kind of brown clay cowhide themed.
That's a great idea. He might be in on that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been fine. Like he's not. I mean, you can make the case last year that he was the worst player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And this year he's playing good defense. He rebounds the ball well. He has started to hit his corner threes with more regularity. He's just becoming a more reliable player, and you can kind of see the kind of player that he could potentially be. Now he still has a ways to go to be a consistent NBA player, but he could be like kind of what Boris Diaw was to the Suns, where he's just like this link to
love that guy,
link to other players on the court. Not your number one ball handler, not your number one anything really, but just like this connector piece that fills in the gaps, shoots open shots, can, pass the ball in the short roll really well. Like those are the kind of things that he does. And he's starting to show that, he's still really young. Like he still has a ways to go, but he's been one of the bright spots for the Thunder early on this season for sure.
Other bright spot for the Thunder, obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I got to say, I was watching that Bucks Thunder game on a delay and somehow perfectly, I didn't have it spoiled for me. Like I didn't know what was going to happen. And I see Shai hit the step back, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "The Thunder win this game? Incredible!"
Yeah,
and then a spectacular getting snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
It was awful. But that moment was great.
Shai's been amazing. Averaging 32 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Shea in the hierarchy right now of, let's say, guards in the NBA? I see Hoops Hype came out with their trade rankings. And they had Shea 17th in the entire NBA as far as the most valuable trade commodity in the entire NBA, which honestly feels right. It's not a shocking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the Timberwolves called you and said we'll give you Karl-Anthony Towns for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which would make the Timberwolves a lot better, Thunder are like, no, we're good.
No,
like, why would we do that? Yeah. Heck no, he says. Yeah.
Heck no. Yeah, there's no.
Where's Shea in the hierarchy right now of like all guards?
I mean,
we got like
probably
our
top 10
in Morant's.
I mean, top 10 easily.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's not Luka. He's not Ja. He and Ja are so different.
Like, where are like Trey and Damian Lillard in your mind? Trey, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Shea. Is Shea the worst still, or is he's in that conversation?
The thing that's differentiated him from those guys, at least this season, is like his defense has been awesome this year.
Yeah.
So we're talking just raw stats here, but he's averaging almost 2 steals and a block and a half per game. And also like playing good defense where they put him on players that matter at the end of games. And he studies those players pretty significantly to the point where he knows how to shut guys, at least like their go-to moves down. And they throw him on guys that matter. And he's been really, really good. You know, he's a lot of people want to give credit to Lou Dort for the Thunder having a top 10 defense in the league. Like Shea is a huge part of that too. Because a lot of it was willingness the last few years. Like he had such a load on offense that he just wasn't giving everything he had on defense. And he started to do both. Now, can he sustain that? He's done it through 10 games. Like, can he do that through 50 games? Like, I don't know. But he's been really good on both ends. And then getting to the free throw line, like he's in the top 10 in attempts, and he's shooting the best percentage of anybody in the top 100. He's shooting at 95% from the free throw line so far.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
So he's been very good. He's also just not taking threes this season, which is kind of funny. He's down to 2.8 attempts per game. And he went 2 weeks without making a three, which is unusual. While also like in one of those weeks, he was the player of the week in the Western Conference. You know, it's just like kind of a weird dichotomy there, but he's been very good. I think that I didn't think last year that this was a guy that would have all NBA potential. I think he's shown that if he plays like this, he's got all NBA potential, especially if the Thunder become a team that wins games in the next few years. Like, I think he's got a chance to be an all NBA type of player. So, you know, I think the Thunder are smitten with this guy and are intending to build around him.
Yeah. He's been, from what I've seen, which isn't a ton, Thunder aren't high on my league pass rankings, but he definitely seems like he's crushing it this season. Speaking of my league pass rankings, I think this team is last in my league pass rankings. It's the Warriors. I actually haven't watched the Warriors this year. The Warriors are delightfully, they're 4-7.
Yeah,
which absolutely rules.
530. Same as the Thunder.
Yeah, same as the Thunder. 538 thinks right now they're projected to win 45 games. So let's spend our last minutes together. I want you to tell me how accurate or what your confidence level is in the 538 win model for some teams this year. Okay. Like the Thunder, they're 4-7, 538 doesn't believe in them. They still 27 wins for projected out.
That feels right. Yeah, that feels right.
The Warriors, they project them to win 45 games. They do still think they have decent odds of winning the title. They have them as the 10th best odds to win the title. So how are you feeling about the Warriors with their 45 games?
I mean, their starting lineup is awesome.
Right.
And now it's just like, can we get the young guys? Can we get any of these young guys to be good? Even Jordan Poole included, who's had a pretty dreadful start of the season. He's only shooting 30% from three. When that three ball's not falling for Poole, he kind of like his mojo's gone. Like he's Austin Powers. And was it the second Austin Powers where he lost his mojo?
I remember the Austin Powers as one uniform blob.
Okay.
And I can't differentiate what happened in each one.
I believe he lost his mojo in The Spy Who Shagged Me. And I think that is where Jordan Poole is at. Like he needs to find his mojo.
Can you think of any event which might have caused him to lose his mojo while being on?
It might have been
Warriors?
like a punch to the
my
face.
favorite joke from our last episode of Fast Break Breakfast, where like Chuck being like, "Yeah, you think maybe he has an uncomfortable workplace? You think that could maybe affect his ability to do his job, where he doesn't feel safe?
Oh my gosh.
He doesn't feel physically safe when going to work. Maybe people don't put out their best product when they don't feel at ease. When you have to, you think these Twitter employees are feeling good about life when they go to work every day right now?
Holy smokes. That's exactly right. And do you think the children around him, the Moses Moody's and the Jonathan Mingus, feel safe right now?
Right.
Like children need to feel safe.
You think these 19-year-olds who saw their coworker get punched in the face and there were no repercussions whatsoever feel like they can just be themselves and comfortably go about their work and express themselves and make mistakes on and off the basketball court?
Right. Yeah. Kaminga, Wiseman, and Moody right now are like, let's see if we can get a trade package to the Wizards or something together.
That's right.
Let's
So
I believe in them being 45 or better. I do believe in that. I think
it would be shocking if they only won 45 games.
Yeah. Like not that like Dante DiVincenzo is going to make a difference, but like just like a confident over 25 NBA player would be nice for them to have in their rotation. The
Trailblazers, they're 9-3, very good record.
Yeah,
they embarrassed the Pelicans on Thursday night. The Pelicans, whose mojo has disappeared completely. Speaking of the
another Austin Powers thing going on in
something
New Orleans.
Happened. My enthusiasm has totally tanked on the Pelicans. I don't like their vibes at all anymore. The Trailblazers are 9-3, 538. Doesn't believe in them. 43 wins. That seems disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful.
What's your confidence level of that number?
Oh, I think they're gonna be way better than that. I like the pieces. Like I really like Josh Hart. He's just kind of like this like do everything player for them. Anthony Simons, like for any of the doubters, like he's been incredible when he's played.
He's like a Jordan Poole with a healthy work environment.
That's right. Exactly. It's like Jordan Poole if he never got punched in the face. Jeremy Grant has been awesome this year.
Really good.
Like, the fit is great. Justice Winslow just kind of filling in wherever they need him, either on the wing or at guard or at center. Like he's just plug and play. Shaden Sharp has been well chronicled as like a great rookie for them. Like they just have a lot of guys, and then they have these other guys developing in the background. Like Nasir Little is still there. Keon Johnson, I think, has got a little bit of something, that I like, and the vibe just around them with Dame being back and Dame just being incredible again, 28, 5 and 5. Like that guy's great. Yeah. He's just a great leader as well. So like I totally believe in them. Chauncey Billups, I had no idea what kind of NBA coach Chauncey was, especially last year. I don't think we really gave him a chance to know.
Yeah.
But I think he's done a good job. So yeah, I think they're way better than that.
538 believes in the team with the second best record in the NBA, the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz are 10-3. 538 says they're going to win 49 games. I believe their over under was 23.5 or something. Maybe it's 26. I might get that backwards. But 538 says the Jazz are going to win 49 games. What's your confidence level there?
I feel not confident in that. I don't know what Danny's going to do. So like that's a huge factor. And I mean, to win 50 games, like winning 50 games in the West is really hard to do.
49. We're not rounding up here. It's 49.
49 games in the West.
It's a stunning
really
number.
hard to do. It's really hard to do. I think that, I'll pick them to go to the playoffs, but I don't know that I could pick them to win that many games.
They could if they want to. I think Mike Conley's he's playing better without Donovan Mitchell. And they're just, and
he's not doing anything nuts. Like he's only averaging 12 points a game.
Yeah. He's not going. Yeah. He's like, I'm the point guard. I don't want to be a point guard. I can do this. I can get the ball to the people who are open.
Yep.
They also, by the way, the Jazz right now, if the draft lottery happened, they would have 2 lottery picks, neither of which would be theirs. They would get the 10th pick from the Timberwolves.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if the Jazz have a better record than the Timberwolves this season?
You better start imagining it.
538
know that
thinks the
it'll be a
Timberwolves are
lottery
going to win
pick,
39
but
games. 538 thinks the Timberwolves are going to go under 500, 39 wins.
that feels right now,
That feels
doesn't it?
right.
I feel that's they look like. I mean, the D'Angelo Russell not going into the game when he was supposed to be subbed in.
I heard a very good defense of this from Dane Moore.
Okay.
Dane Moore says he normally checks in for, I believe it was Jalen Noel at the free throw line. He was supposed to check in for Taurean Prince, which is not the normal guy he subs in for.
Okay.
So that's at least an excuse of why after Noel made his second free throw, he didn't go in the game, or the first, that's an excuse. It's not a great look. It's a viral clip of the Timberwolves playing 4-on-5, literally, not just figuratively, because he's not playing defense.
Does D'Lo know how to count to 5? Like it's a pretty low number.
I don't know.
It's a pretty low number.
I do know there is this extra weight and a pressure, I think, on the Timberwolves. You have to know organizationally. They're like, we traded all these picks for Gobert, and suddenly our starting lineup has one of the worst net ratings in the NBA.
It's bad.
And if we end up worse than the Jazz after five first rounders and Anna Walker Kessler to get Gobert, it would be stunning.
And give away the 13th pick or something like that to the Jazz.
By the way, the Jazz also get the worst of the Nets, Jazz, and Brooklyn pick. No, the worst of the Rockets, Timberwolves, and Brooklyn pick. And right now that's 12th. Right now that's the 12th pick. The worst one of those three.
No.
No. I think the worst of the Sixers. Excuse me. I'll get this right at one point. The Sixers, Nets, Rockets, and the worst one of those is. By the way, the Sixers are horrific.
They are. Gross.
Does James Harden being out mean they lost the opportunity to fire Doc Rivers because he has like this big excuse? Like, is Morey gonna? what's he waiting for? I wish I knew more about NBA basketball. I wish I knew more about NBA offenses and like offensive sets to be able to point and be like, this is why it's horrible. But I just know when I'm watching it, I'm like, this is horrible. This is so bad. Everything they do on every offensive possession.
Yeah, it's like they went back in time in like the worst way, with their offense. I mean, I don't know what they do. They should have changed coaches a year ago, and they should have taken the opportunity in the offseason to change coaches. Morey will go on the radio and go on podcasts and he'll defend Doc, but it's just his time. What else are they going to do? Like, what else could they possibly do? Like, they're going to acquire Eric Gordon, like, just say, like, we can become more Rocketsy, like, I don't know what they're going to do.
You can't trade Harden back. Can we trade Harden back to the Nets? Do we still got to wait? Is there more calendar? Is there still more months you have to go? You trade Embiid for Durant? I definitely wouldn't do that.
I would not advise that.
All right. So you're somewhat confident the Warriors, not confident in the Jazz.
Yes.
You're confident in the Timberwolves winning 39 games. You're confident in the Trailblazers. I will say last season, the Celtics and Bucks both started 4-6. Memphis started 9-10 last year, won 56 games. Last year, the Wizards started 10-3. Same record as our Jazz. The Wizards were bad last year. So it's still early, but
it is early.
Yeah, we don't get carried away. But I agree with your confidence level on a lot of these teams. I might believe in the Jazz more than most people. I just
don't know what Danny's going to do. Like, that's the only thing where it's just like, I can't pretend.
Tony Jones of The Athletic has been adamant that they were never tanking. They never intended to trade away guys. They're just going to try to win every basketball game.
Tony also said they weren't going to trade Donovan Mitchell. So
I lost money on that, actually, by the way.
I love Tony, and I think Tony is very plugged in. Yeah. I just also think that organizations are not always honest about their intentions to reporters.
Right. So also 538 thinks the Pacers are going to win 35 games, which I believed in. I picked them to win 33 in the preseason. I'm all in on the Pacers. All in on Ben Mathern. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Ben's very good.
Anyway,
very good.
Andrew, thanks so much, man, for coming on. Really appreciate your time. Couple more hours till you can eat food and break your fast. Hope you make it until then.
Thanks, Keith.
I will remember